I asked Magnus Olsson how much he would need to Nordic entry, and he said about 125 million Swedish crowns, which is $15 million about.
Yeah.
Is that reasonable?
If I think it's reasonable, or if I think I think it's still a lot of money. I think it's a lot of money, but I think that is still a reduction from the previous race.
Yeah, it is.
And we are going to work on keeping it on getting it even further down. We are still, even during this race, we're going to make changes to how the teams work together on the shore side, accommodation, travel, food, you name it. The event needs. The interesting thing is when teams are spending this much money, the sponsors also spend a lot to activate it, so the event becomes big. But we need to keep it within a framework so Sweden can participate. If it starts to cost 500 million Swedish crowns, like there's no Scandinavian countries in Formula 1, and there's a reason for it. And we don't want to end up in that league because that excludes too many countries. So I think it's achievable, but I think that sailing has never had this agenda. And sailing is very similar to Formula 1, extremely similar. It's a technology-driven sport. And for that reason, we need to think the same way and just be a little bit more advanced.
For over 20 years now, we have had Swedish and Norwegian participants in the Whitbread and Volvo Ocean Race. Will it be a Nordic boat in the next race?
I hope so. We certainly hope so, and there are initiatives working in actually all 3 Scandinavian countries at the moment on 3 separate projects. It's still some time to go, and there is opportunities, I think, this time to also race one of the boats from the previous race, which gives you more time to put the project together. And there is interest in Sweden. I know there's quite a lot of interest with several companies that are interested in the event and using the event. So I'm hopeful because I think in particular with the Ericsson 3 campaign last time, Ericsson built a really strong foundation with new generations of sailors coming up, and I hope they will race on the Nordic team and not on a foreign team.
By propulsion, they choose to enjoy Puma instead of a Nordic team. What is your personal opinion of that?
I don't think they made that choice. I don't think they had the Nordic team on the table.
Okay.
So for them, it wasn't about Nordic or Puma. Burr Propulsion sponsored Green Dragon in the last race as a small sponsor and had a positive experience, and they realized that this was a good platform for them. I think within Burr Propulsion there is a bit of knowledge of sailing, and they wanted to be competitive and join, to be able to live with somebody who was bigger but still get the maximum benefit themselves. And I think it's an international world out there, and it's difficult to say.
In the past, there have been female boats in the race. Will we see an all-female boat in the future, do you think?
And maybe it's a big step forward, because if you asked me the same question last race, I would say no.
Okay.
But I'm saying maybe because there is actually 2 projects at the moment working with that ambition. And before the last race, there was none. So that is obviously a lot better. Will it happen? It's still a lot of work to be done. But there is clearly a couple of projects that are looking at that. And one of the issues with female teams is people talk about the boats being too heavy, and it's not a problem. No. The bottleneck is that there is not enough girls sailing offshore. Simply, I mean, the few girls that are really good offshore are single-handed sailors predominantly, and the reason they only sail single-handed is they don't have anyone else to sail with if they want to make a female team. That is the challenge: is to have enough girls who want to do this credibly, and do it because they can't just do it because they're girls. I mean, they have to do it because they're good sailors and want to do well. And there is now quite a few. If you look at the single-handed classes now, there is after El MacArthur, there is some more names coming up.
Oh yeah.
Samantha Davis, I can mention a few.
Göran talked about carbon fiber. How important is the Volvo Ocean Race for the development of sailing boats and for the usual family boats in the future?
The family aspect, I'm not sure how much it has an impact. I hope it has some impact, but
I mean, Formula One has an impact on usual family cars you see on the street today.
I think we should have more impact than we have, and I think now you can say that the Open 60s and the Volvo Open 70s are very similar. So I think on the hull design, I think that will have an influence. I think you will see in the future more wider boats. And wider boat means more stability, and if you can build them light enough, that gives you speed. Canting keels, I'm sure it will come. It will come one day when the systems are good enough on every boat, because it makes so much sense. More stability for less weight. I mean, everybody wants that. Even on a cruising boat, why not? Why would you want to have a heavy boat? Sure. You can fill it with food and water instead.
I'm sure it will come to. I see that we have working on a project now, like a 40-foot. And it had to be cantering keel also. Yeah. For an Italian guy. So I think it will move slowly over. That will be used a lot, I'm sure. And when you can develop, so you don't, it doesn't have to be really expensive actually. Yeah. It's a simple thing, so you just have to learn how to do it right, and for sure it will come. Oh. Yeah.
You can keep the boat flat when you're cooking.
Oh yeah.
Make it faster.
Yeah. How many boats are ready for the next race today?
Today we have 7 boats.
7 boats.
Of boats that we know about that are ready. Of them, there are 5 that are publicly known, which is a good number at the moment, because if you compare 3 years ago at this stage before the last race, it was less.
Oh yeah. 2 are Spanish, 1 Italian, 1 American.
1 from Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, yeah.
Yeah, and then Camper New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
From New Zealand.
How many will it be, do you think?
My ambition has been to have a double-digit number. Oh yeah. Which means 10. If we manage to get, I mean, my original ambition has been 12, but I'm also cautious that 2009 has been the most difficult year ever for sponsorship. So the fact that we have these teams now is fantastic. It's really, really good. So, and I'm hoping that we're going to see 3 or 4 boats from the last race. I think that would be really good, not only to have one like last race, but to have a few, because that will create a much more competitive environment between them, and then I think they will have opportunities to even podium positions in different conditions.
If you look back when you sailed, do you want to do it again?
Sometimes I do, but I think maybe it sounds like I'm really getting old, but it's. It's a new generation. It's a new generation to me now, and Magnus is a bit different, I must say. He's not the average person, but I grew up with one way of thinking, and I had my own reasons for sailing, and I was very passionate about it. The young professional sailing generation today are business. They compare themselves to Zlatan, and not to Peter Blake. They think commercial, they think performance and numbers, and it's a tougher profession. I mean, it's and I kind of I think I really enjoyed what I did, and I'm happy I was part of that. But now it's time to do something else. It's hard. I mean, the race is incredibly hard, and it's very hard on your family, and it's hard on your mental health.
We look forward to the next race. It was nice to meet you. Thank you very much, and good luck.